All right, today we're jumping into a substance that's really known for a specific and, honestly, frustrating paradox in the body: antimonium tartaricum. We're going to use our source material to build a really clear, memorable picture of what makes it tick. So, let's get right into it.
So here's the plan. First, we'll nail down what the stuff actually is. Then, we'll dig into the two main pillars that everything else is built on. After that, we're going to take a quick tour of its effects, all through the body, see what makes things better or worse, and then finally, we'll put all the pieces together into one complete picture.
Okay, first things first. What exactly are we talking about here? Let's get right to the heart of this substance. This one sentence, right here from our source, this is the key to the whole thing. It's this incredible paradox that just perfectly captures the essence of antimonium tartaricum. It's like this loud promise of relief that just never, ever seems to arrive.
So, chemically, what is it? Well, it's pretty straightforward. Antimonium tartaricum, which also goes by the name tartar emetic, is simply a compound of tartrate of antimony and potash. But, and this is a big but, don't let that simple chemistry fool you. Its effects on the body are where things get really interesting and complex.
So, how does this whole picture come together? Well, according to our source material, the entire profile really stands on two foundational pillars: a very specific kind of trouble with breathing and this profound, just overwhelming weakness.
This slide just illustrates that central conflict perfectly, doesn't it? On the one hand, you have the sound, that deep, intense rattling of mucus in the chest. But on the other hand, you see the result. The person is absolutely exhausted. They're drained because all of that noise, all of that effort produces almost no relief. It's this incredibly frustrating cycle of buildup without any real release. And we're not just talking about a simple cough here. The source material paints a picture of some serious respiratory distress. We're talking rapid, short, difficult breathing, and this frightening feeling of suffocation that's so intense, it actually forces the person to sit bolt upright, just trying to get some air.
And now for that second pillar, which is happening right alongside that struggle for breath, and that is prostration. Now, this isn't just feeling a little bit tired. We're talking about a profound, overpowering wave of drowsiness and weakness that just hits you at the same time as all these other symptoms.
So, here's the crucial point. The source material is incredibly clear on this. Great drowsiness, debility, and sweat should always be there to some degree. This is non-negotiable. These two pillars, the rattling chest and that overwhelming weakness, they're this inseparable pair that truly defines antimonium tartaricum.
Okay, with those two pillars firmly established, let's take a quick tour and see how this pattern starts to show up in other parts of the body. And you'll see that the impact is actually surprisingly wide-reaching. We're going to start with the mind and head, then move down to the face and stomach, and we'll even look at what happens with the skin and the back. Let's see how these core themes play out. So, mentally, that theme of drowsiness just keeps going, but it alternates with vertigo. The source also points out a fear of being alone and this very specific feeling like a tight band is being squeezed around the forehead.
The face itself really tells a story here. It's often described as being cold, pale, maybe even a little bluish, and covered in a cold sweat. All of these are pretty clear visual signs of significant physical distress. And the stomach symptoms are just as intense. We're talking waves of nausea and vomiting. And there's this really interesting detail about thirst, a strong desire for cold water, but it's only taken in little sips, over and over again.
The effects even show up on the skin. Our source connects this substance to pustular eruptions, kind of like what you'd see with smallpox, and they're known to leave behind a very distinct bluish-red mark after they heal.
Okay, so we've got the symptoms down, but what makes them better or worse? These are often called modalities, and they're basically the triggers and conditions we need to know about. Let's take a look at what the source says.
This table lays it out pretty clearly. On the worst side, you see things like the evening, lying down, warmth, and even sour foods or milk. And on the better side, things that bring relief. Sitting up makes total sense, right, given the breathing trouble? And of course, the one thing the body is trying so hard to do all along, actually managing to expectorate something.
The source also lists a few other related substances. Pulsatilla and sepia are mentioned as possible antidotes. Meanwhile, calisulf and ipecac are listed for comparison, and that's probably because they share some similar respiratory symptoms.
All right, we've looked at the definition, the core pillars, the body-wide effects, and the triggers. Now, let's pull all of these threads together to create one final defining portrait.
So, after going through all of this, what's the one image we should really be left with? What is the absolute, undeniable essence of this substance's profile?
Here it is, the final portrait. It all starts with that central paradox, that loud, rattling chest that just can't get any relief. That whole idea is held up by those inseparable twin pillars, the struggle to breathe and that profound weakness. From there, you see its effects ripple out across the whole body, all while being clearly influenced by triggers like posture and temperature. So the complete picture from our source isn't really about any one single symptom, but about this unique, consistent, and really recognizable pattern.